Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the School of Science. My name is Luke, and this is the Bramley project. Now you're probably looking at this and thinking, this isn't the basin and this also isn't the top down onto Bramley. What's going on? So what's happened is, today is Bank Holiday Monday, so I decided I would actually do a little spin around one of the main structures where we can actually have a good look and see what's going on around it. So looking around it, you can actually see a fair bit of detail, so we can see that it's about 6 or 7 high, so you've got like a sort of half sort of concrete piece there. But looking inside it, you can actually see inside it there is actually a stairway there. Now I've probably said this in the past video, I just haven't really iterated it or anything, or I've just completely forgotten about it, but you can actually see the stairway in there, so you will actually use the stairs to get to the upper terraces and everything, which is awesome. It's actually really nice to see in there as well. There's a lot of detail and everything that we can actually take notice of, and how massive this actually is. Because this is one thing that these videos don't really do justice, is actually how big the site is. If you've ever walked around the site or walked past the site, looking through the gates, it is absolutely gigantic. When you're looking at all this on the videos, you don't actually realise how high up we are when we do all this stuff. We're sitting usually anywhere between 100 to 110 metres above ground. This is mostly down to CAA, Civil Aviation Authorities, rules and guidance. So what they do require of you is you do not operate a drone within 50 meters of the general public or of a building site or anything along those lines, which is why I do it at 100 meters. It's so that I can give myself that 50 meter bracket and then some on top of it. So if I was to have to deviate down for any emergency reasons, whether it be crosswind, high winds or anything, which we actually did have today, you'll probably notice it before in the video where we actually got buffered a little bit side to side. That's what the crosswind can actually do to these drones, especially if you've got one of the drones that's under 250 grams. They are really prone to getting whipped around by any heavy winds or anything along those lines. But in any case, I have taken up so much time on this video just by rambling on. I will now get back onto the video. So looking over on the west stand in the car park, we can see a little bit more stuff has been getting added onto the site and everything. So mainly the things that I can see right now is around the car park in particular. There's a lot of building material, a lot of reclaimed rubble and other little bits and pieces across the site. Even some little minor bits of machinery and everything. I can see what looks like a little genie there down the bottom right corner. So what that is almost like a little boom lift. It's one where it has like an extendable arm and you can actually move around certain areas. Now looking over on the south stand, we can see that there hasn't been too much of a difference really between this one and the previous video, just for the fact that it's been a bank holiday. We've had pretty much a weekend and a bank holiday in between both of them. So between this one and the previous one, there isn't going to be too much difference. We can actually see a little bit more detail around the pylons and everything. So it is actually, I do pronounce it as pylons and not pilings. I'm not sure which is actually the correct term. In all fairness, the way I talk on these things, I do talk fast and I do mumble on the occasion, so I do apologise on that front if it does sound like I am saying something that I'm not saying. Chances are I am saying the right words, I'm just mumbling or muttering, so you may not actually interpret it properly. But I'm digressing again. So we're looking over the site and everything, we are seeing everything is getting pushed along nicely and everything's going smoothly. Just the fact that we have got bank holidays left, right and centre that are coming up that are sort of breaking up the building process a little bit. If we were to have had a nice smooth transition from point A to B where we had no sort of bank holidays or anything inside that period, we would have got a fair bit more done, but not as much as what we have done over the long course of things, because in all honesty, the building crew that are working on this site are absolute legends. They've been working to the absolute perfect amount of efficiency. They're doing everything on track and they're even exceeding their expectations as well. They are moving a little bit quicker than expected. So right now we are coming to the latter stages of stage 2. So what's going to end up happening is we will be going into stage 3. This is going to either be mid to late May, I'm going to make an assumption on. So don't judge on what I say, just for the fact that I'm not an architect, I don't work on the site, and the information that I get is sort of bits and pieces that I've sort of pulled it from across the internet and through grapevines. So everything that you hear from my mouth is not 100%, but it's to the best that I can actually provide, and probably the best of what most channels will be able to provide for you. But yeah, looking over on top of these as well, you might notice this actually a slight bit lower than normal. I have actually brought the drone down here to around 80, so I am still within my own guidelines. But you can see that I've got a massive crane coming over the drone now, well, coming under the drone now. That's probably sitting around 60 to 80 meters high. I can't tell you straight off the bat, but that's the reason why we don't want to get it too low as well, especially when the site's empty. I don't want to get overconfident and put myself or the drone at risk by going a little bit too low and as a result ends up colliding with anything, because all it takes is one knock and these drones do come out the air. They are extremely brittle in that sort of sense, like they can be knocked out the air very easily. So now looking over the north stand and everything is progressing nice and smoothly. Well, I say smoothly. There's been a little bit done between the previous week and this week, but not too much at this point in time. So what we can see is the supporting structures either side of the stadium itself, they have had work continuing on them. I think at this point now they have actually reached their main height, but the only problem is they're working on the inside of them now, so it's very hard to see that. The one thing though is once the steel structure and everything starts coming into place, this stuff on the outside is going to be stuff that we're going to be able to see very, very easily. Unfortunately, a lot of the finer details that happen inside the stadium when we get to them stages, so when they're working on, say, like all the stuff inside, like all the seats and everything, we might actually see that itself. The only thing is I'll have to have the drone hover at the center of the stadium and sort of lower myself to the point where I will be close to the danger zone in terms of either having the signal cut off or hitting anything, which I do not want to do just because these drones are not cheap by any means. But what we will probably try and do in the future is, as the stadium inside, so like seats getting added, the turf getting laid down, all the stuff at the near the very end of it, I'm going to try and get some detail on that while that's being done, so like get like a very slow sort of spin around as that's going on, because that's one I would be very happy to see, because it's going to be these are all historical points when we're doing all this sort of stuff. So seeing all this going on right now, so it's going on to a historical site and there's going to be something put on top of it which is going to be very significant for the city, the country, all that sort of stuff, because it's not just going to be Everton's new stadium, it's also going to be a venue where major events are going to take place, whether it be concerts, sports events, boxing matches, UFC fights. We could have these sorts of things put into the stadium and done to very high efficiency, just because the stadium itself is going to be self-sufficient, so it's going to have its own outlets in terms of power, so it's going to probably have some wind power and solar power around the site somewhere. Whether that's going to continue to be where the car park is going to be, I'm not too sure, because they could theoretically do that. They could have it almost looking like a sunshade where the tour buses away, the way supporters buses, or even where your blue pass sort of people can go, and on top of that could be the solar panels. I'm not too sure on that front. They've got a lot of stuff that you can do nowadays in that regards to get like power into a stadium without having to rely on fossil fuels or anything like that. But in any case, guys, I have been yammering on about all sorts of random things with this one today. I do apologise about that. I would love to be able to tell you more detail about certain things, but the only problem is, as I've said, probably for the third time now, around the stadium right now, there's not too much going on, just because we've had the Easter holidays and now we've got May Day. So what's happened is, in between these points, the site has been mostly empty around the weekends and the bank holidays. They're always going to be empty in that regard, just because it's public holidays. They don't want to have them working on public holidays, and again, they don't have them working on the weekends, but Monday to Friday they are working their absolute arses off. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all my patrons over here. So if you want to be like any of these guys and get your name on the sidebar, why not go over to the Patreon and become a part of the School Science Superfan. Now, the School Science Superfan is only £3 a month, and what that does is it gives you early access to the videos and free content. And at this point in time, as you become a recurring member over a certain length of time, you actually accrue enough points to get yourself School of Science TV stickers. I did not intend for that to actually happen. It's actually quite a surprise. I saw it as an option on Patreon once. I clicked it. I cannot find the setting to revert it, but it comes at no extra cost for you guys, and you guys get a sticker or multiple stickers. No one's actually told me because I have never received them. I've had a couple of people tell me that they've had them and they said they're really good quality and they really like them. They just haven't told me what the quantity of them is. So if anyone who is a part of that Patreon School Science Superfan has got the stickers now, please tell me how many did you actually get in the pack, and why not send a photo over to me on Twitter. I've got a Twitter there if you want to actually send me a photo of them. But I digress. Let's get back on topic. So we have got two tiers there. So one is the cup of coffee tier. Now that is essentially just like reaching into your pocket going, look, I like what you do, mate. Here's £1 on me. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. It's a simple £1 donation per month, which helps the channel very much so. And also we have got the School Science Superfan, so that is ad-free content. You get early access to the videos, usually between 12 to 24 hours before they get released onto the YouTube channel. And you get stickers apparently. Now this was actually quite a surprise in all fairness. But if you cannot afford to do any of these options or you prefer not to do that, that is perfectly fine. I am more than happy for you to carry on following me on YouTube and supporting the channel just by simply liking, commenting, sharing. Honestly, sharing this across Facebook and Twitter does help the channel significantly. I do this to a couple of the groups that I am in, but you guys doing it as well, sharing it across friends, family, and anything along those lines helps the channel significantly. But anyway, guys, I would like to bid you all a very fond farewell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.